What's up, everybody? It's Soren Baker here on Unique Access Entertainment. As always, please hit that subscribe button right there. As you know, it's free, and that allows us to keep coming to you guys with these interviews. We're trying to keep the channel growing and building, bringing as many interviews as often as possible. So please like, subscribe, share, each one teach one to our projects, our interviews, and everything. We appreciate it. Now, today, we have the honor of being joined by a returning guest, OG Arabian Prince. Thank you for coming back to Unique Access Entertainment.
Yes, sir. Anytime, fam. Always got your back.
Yes, OG Arabian Prince is in the building now. Last time we had Arabian Prince in, we had talked a lot about some of the stuff he did with Ruthless and N.W.A, but he's got so much more that he's done, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to come back this time, because he did so much before N.W.A even existed. So I wanted to get a lot of that today. So to get right off the bat with this, how did you get affiliated and how did you meet Russ Parr?
Yeah, so I met him like right when I first started getting into records, man. And I always tell like the quick backstory first. Like, you remember everybody on the West Coast back in the early 80s, we were all DJs. You know, me, Dre, Egyptian Lover, I know DJ. We were all DJs on the West Coast, and we used to always do the roller skating rings and the high school dances, and eventually Uncle Jam's Army, Z Cars, LSD, all the West Coast crews had their little crews that would do all the parties. So that's how we started. And then I remember hanging out with Egypt one day, and he had just got that 808. Uncle Jam's Army just got the 808. I said, "Man, we about to make a record." I'm like, "What? Y'all making a record?" And then I talked to Dre and freaking Lonzo, the record crew, and they were like, "We about to make a record." I was like, "What the hell is everybody making records all of a sudden?" And I really wasn't like down with any particular crew. I was just Arabian Prince. It was me. I always did my own thing, but I was cool with everybody, and everybody was going in the studio making records. I'm like, damn, I want to make a record. So I had never been in the studio, man. So I figured it out and saved up like $500. And then at the spot I was working at and DJing at, they gave me the owner, Sam. He hooked me up with another $500. So I had a G. And I went to recorded studio, man, and banged out a song. Had never been in the studio before, but made a record. Found out where everybody was getting their records pressed. Macola Records. Everybody was getting their stuff pressed in Macola Records. I go to Macola, walk in to ask questions, and look who's there, Russ Parr. He's in there talking to Don McMillan, who owned Macola. And they were like, "Oh, well, we'll let them hear it and see if they want to, do something with you." I'm like, "Okay, cool." So Russ actually listened to my song, and Russ was like, "Oh, so this is you?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "You're a producer?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm a producer." I had never produced a record in my life, dog. And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm a producer. I did it. So I guess I am a producer." He's like, "I tell you what, I got a label. I would love to put you out on my label, and then you could help produce some of my stuff. I'm actually Russ Parr, Morning Show, K-Day, and I'm also Bobby Jimmy." I heard Bobby Jimmy on the radio. I'm like, cool. All right. So that's how I met him.
Now, the first song, was that Strange Life?
Yeah, Strange Life. And that's why it sounded the way it did, because it wasn't what I went in to do, but all I knew at the time was I love Prince, I love Parliament Funkadelic, and I love Kraftwerk. So I kind of took those three sounds and like stuck them together, man, and came up with Strange Life.
Yeah, because it has that weirdly positive yet apocalyptic feel to it.
Yeah, it's really it's a mishmash, man. It was what was hot at the time. It was punk rock, new wave, funk, and like Prince music. That's what was hot back then, and some Kraftwerk thrown in a little bit. So that's kind of what I was, into. So that's what I made.
And so that was 84, is that right?
I made the record in 83, and then it came out in 84. Yeah.
Okay, because I found out later what I always had heard it was 84. So I was just
curious. That's what's on the actual label, but I made the record like I literally had just graduated high school, dude. I graduated in 83, and that's when I made the record. And then, like I said, it came out in 84.
Okay. So at that time in rap, it wasn't unusual for songs to be close to 7 minutes long like that one is. So Did you have to factor in like studio time and expense at all, even though the song was so long, or did you just initially make it that long?
Nah, like I said, I had never been in a studio, so all I knew is I had $1,000. It was just me and the engineer, and I'm like, I'm just gonna write this and make it, and put it out. And I think it was long because, like I said, if you think about all of the groups that I was down with, like Prince was doing long versions, Parliament Funkadelic, everything they did was damn near 15 minutes long, right? So my upbringing was long ass songs. It wasn't like today, songs are like 2.5 minutes long now. I'm like, how you put a record out that's 2.5 minutes long? Like that's like just the intro. But yeah, so I wasn't thinking about it, man. I just made what I felt.
And then along those lines, how did you learn or get hip to or savvy for the vocal alteration? Or was that something the engineer helped? How did that work?
That then and again, like I said, that was that whole Parliament Funkadelic, Kraftwerk, Prince thing. All of them, if you think about all three of those groups, they all manipulated their voices. Even Prince does. He speeds it up, slows it down. I got some reverse stuff in Strange Life that I got from Prince. Parliament Funkadelic, I got a deep voice, so it always had that effect on their voice. So that's kind of was something that he had. I think he had that Eventide H3 2003, that harmonizer, big ass harmonizer they had back then. I like put that on it.
Okay. Huh. And since you did write, arrange, produce, and synthesized as is on the vinyl, um, how did you or why did you want to put all that out there so significantly like that right off the bat?
Yeah, just so people knew that I did everything. And like I said, then again, got that from Prince because remember Prince used to put performed, arranged, he used to put all that on his record. And I wanted people to know that I produced this, like I did it. And like I said, my mom's was a piano teacher and classical pianist. So I learned that from her. My cousins who were all in the military used to come back from the military with like crazy, crazy electronics from overseas, right? Like my first influence with a synthesizer was an ARP 2600 that my cousin came back from overseas with. So I'm a little kid playing with an ARP 2600 like years. Just so I knew what to do. I just had never been in the studio. So yeah, I just wanted people to know that this was me.
Okay. And then the next record that I knew of from you was the It Ain't Tough.
Yeah.
So was that your actual next single?
Yeah. It went Strange Life, It Ain't Tough. Then I think it was Innovator.
Okay.
I get white. I can look at the labels: blue label, green label, red label. Yeah. Then it was Innovator, Innovative Life, the little EP or the maxi single that I did. But yeah, it ain't tough was the second one.
Okay. Um, now that one you added "Loved By" in the credits.
Yeah.
So what made you add that on that single?
Hey man, I had kind of justified. It was like, you know what? I love this. I found my calling, music. Like I knew I was a DJ, but I can make records now. Like people like my music. You know what I'm saying? Because I wasn't really trying to be like nobody else. I was always trying to innovate my own little space, and there was a lot of peer pressure to do certain types of music. And I was like, man, I'm gonna do what I want to do, and I really love that. So I wanted to put that on there.
Okay. And at this time, with K-Day, Russ Parr, and then the Bobby Jimmy had in '85 also started coming out with the Ugly Knuckle Butt stuff. So how did it go from being on, what was it, Rapsor Records into being part of the Critters with Bobby Jimmy?
Yeah. So like I said, I did my first record and ended up being on Rapsor Records with Russ Parr. And then I immediately started producing all of the Bobby, Jimmy, and the Critter stuff, and even some of the other releases on Rapsor. And Russ was just like, "Man, you might as well just tour with us because well, it kind of started like this. On the West Coast, it wasn't really a lot of groups, so whenever there were concerts, we would all end up on the same show anyway. Like we would go do the Bay. Like we would hit places in the Bay that nobody ever heard of: Hercules, Merced, Modesto, Vallejo. We would hit the whole circuit, and it would be Bobby, Jimmy and the Critters, Arabian Prince, Egyptian Lover, the Wrecking Crew and the Dream Team. You know, that would be like that thing that would go up through there. And I was always with him and said, man, and since I played all the stuff, I might as well do it, because Russ, we did our stuff live. People don't know, Bobby G and the Critters, we used to carry around keyboards and drum machines, and we actually literally played live sequencing on stage.
That's crazy. And what because the first song in real time I heard, and then I had to go back, was the Roaches song.
Yeah.
And I remember there was the video for that and everything as a kid, and I just thought, playing off of Rumors, that was so hilarious. But with making a parody and then making all the other music that you were making, how did you find, if at all differently, you had to tap into your creativity or your artistry to do kind of a play off of like a parody record as opposed to just an original composition?
Yeah, that was the easy part. Like, I had fun with that one, because a lot of people don't know, once me and Russ started hanging out on the morning show, on his K-Day morning show, he would do all these voices on the morning show, because he was like the Weird Al Yankovic of hip hop, right? And he would call me up, man, at 6 o'clock in the morning. I'd be asleep, and he had me do voices, because I do voices too. So I would always do like the wisdom of Prince, and I pretend like I was Prince and say just some random outlandish stuff on the radio. And then I would do a couple of other voices. So we took that and just put that on record.
Be sure to check out The History of Gangsta Rap by Soren Baker. He's official.
History of Gangsta Rap features exclusive interviews with Ice-T, Snoop Dogg, MC Ren, the D.O.C, and dozens of others. The History of Gangsta Rap, a definitive look at how Los Angeles changed rap forever.
In Los Angeles, the streets definitely set the tone of the hip-hop music.
At 19, I got a $50,000 car.
My whole angle always was, I'll be street, but I will always tell you the horrors that go along with this life.
There will be penalties and casualties for just wearing the wrong color in somebody's neighborhood.
And once gangsta rap made it from the streets to the TV, the genre exploded.
With Fab 5 on Yo MTV Raps with N.W.A.
Yo MTV, it just catapulted us from being local heroes to national gangbang rappers.
The History of Gangsta Rap discusses it all from 1980 up till today.
It's always gonna be shit happening in the streets. You know what I mean? So it's always gonna be something to talk about.
The History of Gangsta Rap in stores now.